Today, you're going to meet two female entrepreneurs, small business owners who own an ice cream bubble tea shop here in beautiful Kentucky. Angel, Angie, thank you so much for having me here today. I am so excited to be back at your shop location. This place is huge. I mean, last time I saw you, you were just moving in here from that little tiny unit across the street. Now here today, here we are. Wow. And just for the viewers at home, if you hear any noise in the background, there's just loads of customers in here because it's really busy. So just bear that in mind if you hear any noise. Tell me a little bit about your shop because I know the people at home would love to hear more about it.
We started business, signed our lease in December 2019, and that was way before we knew that the world was going to change. So we moved forward with plans because everything was already put in place and in motion. We opened in April of 2020 into a little 700 square foot ice cream shop.
Yeah, I think it was just across the street, right?
Across the street, had no tables, no restrooms, no nothing. It was just a grab and go. We quickly grew out of that space. This space was available. We wanted to stay in this same area. We was very nervous at first because this is a 10,000 square foot building. It's 2 stories with lots of potential to grow. And we wanted to start making bubble tea. We've watched your shows and watched your channel, so we was very interested in doing it. So we're like, you know, let's carry over our rolled ice cream. Let's make our bubble teas and see where this goes. So fast forward to April 2022 and we are here.
Very good. Well, it seems like it was just yesterday, but I know it was a while ago. And I know everything hasn't been coming up roses for you guys, but we'll get into that a little bit. We're going to be real in this interview. Definitely, we're going to share some insights for future business owners out there who may or may not have thought of certain things that are going to come up along the road to success. So we're going to cover some of that. This location is very interesting, and this town is very unique as well. What's sort of the vibe? I know it's in a university town. Tell us a little bit about that.
We are located in Morehead, Kentucky. Our next door neighbor is actually Morehead State University.
It's, you know, small town America. It's not a big city, right?
No.
I think a lot of times when people want to open a bubble tea shop, they think in their minds it has to be in a big town. So like, let's look at Kentucky, for example. You know, there's loads of bubble tea shops in Lexington, Louisville, just outside Cincinnati. You know, you guys are in a small little all-American town. Now the benefit is you've got the university, right? The Morehead State University.
Yep.
How does that kind of play in? Do you get more university students during the week and then just the local folks on the weekend? How does that go?
It's definitely more of a college crowd for right now for the bubble teas. We are trying to branch out and trying to grow our brand and our drinks to the regular community who is like, what is this stuff? I mean, it looks like fish eggs in the bottom of the cup. You know, it's not, it's delicious. So trying to get them to come over from the coffee side to come over to the bubble tea shop.
Right. Now, I get contacted a lot, people wanting to open a bubble tea shop either in a university or in a university area. What are your thoughts on that? What are the pros and cons to that sort of approach for a bubble tea shop?
Foot traffic is always, while school's in, it's great, but you'd see a definite fluctuation. If school's in, business is in. School's out, business is not so in. You still get your regulars that live here, and we get a lot of the campus kids, regulars that come here sometimes every day. We're not on campus, but it's in our backyard.
Tell us about your logo and your artwork with all the dogs.
We actually met through animal rescue. I started a rescue out of need in the area where we live. I met Angie and her fiance at the time, Phil, and they started volunteering for the rescue. And long story short, Phil passed away, and we wanted to carry on the food truck that he loved. He had not used the rolled ice cream yet before he passed away, so she didn't know what to do. So I said, let's try it for rescue and fundraise with it. And that's how we started. Everything is kind of geared from the dog lover's perspective, and we offer dog dairy-free ice cream. We're going to be offering a doggy boba this summer. We just are animal people here.
Good. Awesome. That's really great. All right, we're just gonna jump right in on this. So, because you guys are in a small town and you're in a university town, I'm sure staffing is sometimes an issue. Let's share with our viewers about staffing, staff turnover, quality. I mean, there's so much to cover. Take it away.
Well, I think another thing that makes us a little bit unique as far as business owners is we both also work other jobs. We can't be here all the time, so we rely on our staff to represent our brand. It's not always easy to mesh with people or find the right people to do that for us.
It's hard because when we get student schedules and it changes from different semester to semester, so our hours have had to vary depending on the time of year and who can we get here to open at noon and 1. So right now, currently, we have to open at 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
During the week?
During the week.
Wow.
Yep.
Because of staffing.
You know, right now, I mean, jobs is a hot commodity where, you know, people are offering higher pay, benefits, just anything trying to get workers to come to work for them. So it's kind of like a free-for-all for right now for the workplace, trying to get quality workers.
And incentivize them to do the level of work that we expect from them.
And that can be the frustrating part. We're paying for a higher level of pay, so we kind of want to expect that, you know, they're going to have a higher quality of work ethic as well.
And then also, like you mentioned, semester to semester type work, there's that lull in the summer. All the students go home, all the staff members that you might have normally had from the university who are like pumped and they really want to work during the semester, they're gone. And you're like, you know, what do we do?
They're gone. They are gone.
Yeah.
This year we're venturing out to high school seniors and juniors that we think that are mature enough to handle this type of work environment that could be fast-paced. It could also be physically strenuous, rolling ice cream, especially if you're rolling one right after the other.
With the side of bubble tea, there's so much to know. That was something that I always ran into with my staff members. Paying to train them to work for me, for the company, and then hoping they were going to stick around for long enough. That trained paid ratio versus how long they actually stay with you.
Yeah.
There has to be that balance. Sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes you bring someone on and they're with you for years. I can think of a handful of staff members that literally worked for me for almost a full 5 years. It was amazing having them be the backbone of the company. But then you've got all the little popcorns, right? The little, they pop and they're there for a little bit and then they go and then, oh, they want to come back and you're like, oh, I've already hired people since you've worked for me. And people in the industry don't really talk about what it's actually going to be like with staff. It's a touchy subject, it really is. It's kind of controversial to talk about it.
To be completely honest, it's September, so that's give or take about 7 months ago. We have flipped our staff 4 times.
Wow.
4 times. That's varying with hours and then training and getting the recipes, getting our brand right. It's probably about one of the most frustrating parts of being a business owner is the staffing.
And understandably, you know, when you look at it from both sides, because, you know, I was once young and I was in, you know, college and I had part-time jobs. When you're that age, you just think like, oh, I just want to work somewhere, make some extra pocket money, go out with my friends on the weekends. I don't want a lot of responsibility. But oppositely, when you're a business owner, that's money and time invested into someone that you're really hoping is going to stay there and just be an amazing staff member. And then when they leave, you're like, oh, yeah.
We cherish the good ones that we do get to keep. We do incentives, we give free t-shirts, we buy food and lunch for them. We have different types of merchandise in our dog boutique area that we give them just to tell them that extra thank you for being awesome, working with us, and, you know, helping our brand grow.
We can't move forward with all the ideas. You know, we need a solid staff that we can trust to start new things. And if we can't ever get to the level that we need to be, we can't ever move forward.
And like she said, we both work full-time jobs throughout the week. We both work in healthcare. The goal is to eventually be able to sustain enough to where we can actually cut back to part-time and hopefully be able to be here more often than we can. Another thing with this business, we live about 40 minutes away from the store. She works 4 hours away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
during the week.
Yeah, she lives in Ohio during the week and then back here. So
Oh my goodness.
so it's not like we just live in the neighborhood and just run
Yeah.
down and, you know, fix something or do something. You have to make a trip and then make a plan of it. Like I said, we're on our 4th turn of staff. So this staff that we've seen, we did offer higher wages and such. Went ahead and took a leap and actually paid for an actual manager that had experience in other restaurants to kind of help lead us to where we want to go. So we're hoping that will pay off as well. It's just been a struggle.
Trying to pull a couple non-students on board. That'll be the ones that really can keep it together for us. We love our students, but you know, it's just the logistics of it. We really need that 1 or 2 people that can be here all the time.
Yeah, because with students you deal with sororities, fraternities, band, vocal. I mean, they're in always some sort of club and have
Extracurriculars.
That you have to work around with.
We do. I mean, we're very flexible.
Well, I think that's one of the things that you can benefit from working with a small mom and pop is usually the small businesses are more flexible than these larger companies.
Yeah.
So it seems like right now the staffing is just the most difficult thing, getting that balance of not enough but not having too many, and then making sure that the ones that are here are trained up and they're the best.
Are confident enough,
confident enough, and keeping them as long as possible, hoping they stay, so then that way you don't have that constant turnover of having to train more people and all this. Yeah, I get it.
That's part
I've
of the
been
reason
there.
why we have one employee here who wanted to work for us so bad. She would message us, and she'd be like, "No, too young." So now
she was 16 at the time.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
oh,
now
I'm
I'm
not the
thinking
16-year-old.
she's a senior. She's graduating high school. We could have her the next 4 years. She's going to Morehead. Maybe we try the younger crew.
And she's actually turned out to be our best employee so far. So
Well, there you go.
Very mature.
it's always the important, lesson. Don't judge a book by its cover. And everybody deserves a chance.
You guys seem like really nice, kind, chilled out people. I mean, we all have our moments, but other than that, you guys don't seem like you're super mean or, cracking the whip or anything crazy. So I'm sure it's a pretty chilled out, relaxed environment.
Yeah.
And I will hope that your staff realize that you want what's best for them just as much as you want what's best for your business.
Yeah, we recently came in contact with a customer that we seen in another city, and they was like, "Oh, I love this flavor, but it's different every time I come in."
It's good. She said it's good.
Yeah.
But it's always different.
Yeah. So it's like going back and pounding the recipes in. It's like, please just follow the measurements.
Exactly. And you guys are using really simple measurements, really
Yes.
simple recipes.
Yes.
A lot of them I think you got from my recipes packet and my YouTube channel. Just trying to keep it as simple as possible.
Yes.
Yep.
And still sometimes staff members mess it up.
Right.
Yep.
I would say that it was one of the biggest variables
Yeah.
is staff members.
Yeah, and we write the recipes out and try to, layman's term and really big lettering. So if you just like, oh, how do I make that? Just, 1 second, you look up there and be like, oh yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as a business owner, and this might be useful for people out there who are not wanting to become a business owner. Maybe you're just interested to learn about bubble tea or being a staff member, or maybe one day in the future you want to open your own bubble tea shop. As a business owner, you just want to have a shop that's open, right?
Yeah.
Which means you need to have staff that run it, and then the staff carry the ideals and the brand or the motto or whatever you want to call it of the business. So if it's a fun, ice cream and bubble tea shop, you want to have really happy staff members who want to serve you and they want to be kind and get the job done, and then the customer is happy and therefore the customer comes back. Like, it's very, very simple.
Sounds simple.
It sounds simple, right? But it's like actually putting it into action is quite difficult because there's so many variables.
Many.
Some people have a bad day. Something happens at school, they can't come in. The electrics are down for the day. There's just so many things that can go wrong. And it's trying to figure out how to overcome these issues to just get back to the basics of A, B, C, D and get the job done. That's it. It's actually really simple, but like you said, it's just trying to get it to actually work. That's the hard part. Have you put anything into place for staff, for example, operations manuals or training systems, anything that you guys have done?
We've used a lot of the stuff that we purchased from you, just kind of tweaked it to us. We have it all, whether people read it and follow it.
Yeah.
That's why we need our manager.
Yeah. And we're hoping that will be a big help, having one consistent person here throughout the week that can help with operations when we're not here.
Do you have your staff members sign an NDA, like a non-disclosure agreement, or how do you deal with that?
We actually don't. It's probably something that we need to look into, just because, right now we're the only bubble tea and rolled ice cream shop around.
Yeah.
for miles in this area, but I know that's not going to be, always the same. That's something that we need to look into.
The main thing we do, I think, is have them rebottle everything that's not branded. So they'll put it in like squeeze bottles, like our chocolate syrups or whatever. This is definitely something that we're going to do.
That's a good point. I think for branding purposes and for people not knowing what brand you're using, just for secrets of the industry, I think it's always advisable for bubble tea shops to either cover up the name of the company that they buy from or to transfer it to a different one. For example, for me, out in the UK, there's only like 3 types of syrups really available if you're buying within the UK, if you're not importing from Taiwan, for example. So I know automatically when I go into a bubble tea shop, even if it's stickers covered, I know. Right. But like a normal customer isn't going to walk in and go, oh, they're using this brand or that brand. But I have seen, like I said, other ones like you guys who completely transfer them to a different type of container 100%, and then that way you don't have to worry about it at all. I just think sometimes there are recipe secrets and there are industry secrets that the public doesn't need to see when they come in. If they ask you and you decide to share that with them, or if you're like me and you have a YouTube channel and you're sharing some secrets and stuff, that's different. But as a shop, it kind of gets rid of that smoke screen, that sort of mystery of it all. For example, a lot of the products that you get at these larger corporation type companies, you can't buy them on the market. You can only get them through that company, and they don't privately sell them because they don't want you making their drinks at home. They want you to go into their business to buy their products. Right. What I was going to say in terms of the NDA is sometimes for a business good to have it. That way if there's any legal implications of anything in the future that come at you, you have that legal paperwork. This can be for an NDA. This can also be for a staff contract. In the UK, we have something called a 0 hours contract that I had my staff sign, which meant I did not guarantee them any hours. I wanted to, and I tried my best to make sure that I never underscheduled hours. But at least that way they signed that document that said, if I don't get any hours this week, I can't come back and try to sue you. And then also just like a normal staff contract of how you're gonna wear your hair. Like some places require you to put it up in a bun with a hairnet. Like that's just the legal requirement for that place. Some people let their staff wear their hair down. How much skin are we willing to show in this area? That's important. How short can your shorts be?
And this area.
Exactly. Like I just think it's important because that way if you or your managers come in and they see this and they say, no, the staff member can't just go, oh, well, I didn't sign anything. I can dress however I want. It's your brand, it's your business, and if you guys are, for example, a family-friendly type company, you don't want your staff members necessarily dressing a certain way. So that's also something for business owners to consider.
And the same goes for what are you chatting about while you're rolling ice cream next to your friend? Because we've had to address that. We have many children in here watching you. Sometimes they're taping you. So that's another thing we've had to address. Obviously language. No cuss words.
And all of that can be addressed in a normal staff contract.
Yes.
When you bring them on, it says on there age-appropriate language, child-friendly conversations, uniforms, what we expect, and then they have to sign at the bottom. And that's like their legal contract with you because you're paying them. And you guys don't seem like the type who would necessarily take legal action, but if something really bad goes down, you just never know.
Yeah.
Someone could come in with their child and be completely offended by the conversation behind the counter. They could in turn sue you for indoctrinating their child into this conversation that they didn't want their child hearing. Who knows? Who knows what people are capable of?
Yep.
So then what do? Do you just take, do you let that staff member go? Do you just say, no, you got us sued?
Yeah.
What do you do,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like gray areas of being a business owner, and sometimes it's easier just to have a system. You got all of these contracts to sign. When staff members come on, they know this, they know that, at least they've been told it all, and then that way you don't say, oh, I wish I had done something.
Yeah, and it just goes back to, just wanted to make ice cream and bubble teas, but it's not that simple.
Yeah. It's difficult sometimes being the boss, right? The boss. Sometimes you want to be friends with your staff and have that really nice relationship, and other times you got to be able to lay down your foot and say that's not okay.
I think that's where we complement each other well in
As
the
a co-ownership.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
If one of us is a little too lenient, the other's like, I think you need to get a little bit more serious about it.
And also, when you have a manager, if you decide, you want to continue on that route, hopefully they kind of take over that authoritative position.
Yes.
And if need be, if the staff member is doing things wrong, throughout a very long time period, the manager can issue disciplinary write-ups, and then that way if you need to let that person go, you can say, here's the reason why.
It's all documented.
Late 5 times, the cash register was short $20 5 times.
Yeah.
We need to let you go.
Yeah.
And then that way that person can't come back and say, oh, you fired me, I'm going to sue you or something. No, actually, I can see it. The manager signed off on it and you signed off on it.
Yeah.
We need to let you go, unfortunately. And I know right now that might not be the issue for you, is needing to let people go. Right now it might be the issue of just trying to find people in general. But eventually everything will get back to normal and you'll be in the swing of things in a normal world again. And hopefully that will be more the route instead of trying to find people.
begging people.
Yeah, wages are a huge thing to consider. So you've got your overheads, right? You've got your rent, and then of course, electric and water and heating or whatever you've got for your unit, and then staff.
Yeah.
It's like any one of those two that is too high out of proportion will just start sucking away all that money. And it's trying to balance out rent costs and staff wage costs versus the amount of income that you're actually getting.
It's so mentally draining. I mean, when we first started this, it's like we wanted to make ice cream, we wanted to make teas, we just thought everything would be happy, and everybody's so happy, excited to work here because we're making teas and ice cream and all these delicious treats, and no. It doesn't work that way. It's like that's just the bare minimum of the excitement of this place. It is all, thinking of wages, dealing with personalities. Employees, we treat them like our family. So if there's like a crisis with them, of course, we're trying to help them as well. And then, the utilities, and then trying to grow, but then also goes back to the staffing, because every time we think we're getting ahead, then, something happens with the staffing and then we're flipping everything over again. So that's been the story of our lives for the last 7 months.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, like with marketing and branding and pushing out to try to get more customers to come in type thing. If you go the route of like a franchise, for example, that's all done for you, basically. I mean, it's kind of worked into that yearly franchise fee. But as a small business, that's up to you. One of the upsides might be, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff if you go with a franchise. One of the maybe not so great upsides is you don't have any control over it at all. If you want to take your business a certain direction, whether it's with the branding or the marketing or with the amount of customers you're bringing in, when it's your own business, you're in control of those things. So it's kind of like there's pros and cons to each side of it all. So I hope you appreciate today's interview. It was just real life Bubble Tea Shop doing an interview and seeing what's really happening out there and what it's like for them. 2 years in, having gone through all of the lockdowns nationwide and everything, his success will come, I know, for you guys. They are very determined and very intelligent, and you guys have a great outlook on everything, so I'm sure it's going to go good. You're always looking forward, so that's one thing I definitely appreciate about you. So thank you for joining us. Feel free to click that like button and leave a comment below. Let us know, are you going to be opening a bubble tea shop? Have you opened one? Have you experienced any similar situations in your own bubble tea shop? And feel free to subscribe. I'll put a playlist up here somewhere with my other interviews, real life interviews with other small business bubble tea shop owners for you to watch. Thanks again, and thank you so much.